Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of Starbucks, ticker symbol SBUX. And so here I am recording this on the evening of Thursday, May 2nd, and Starbucks closed at a price of $74.93, being up 0.66% on the day and continuing up in the after hours. So, not that bad of a day. However, this does follow their earnings report, which was released on April 30th. And following the release of that report, the stock price dropped almost 16% on May 1st, leaving this massive gap here and, trading sideways today on Thursday. And following this gap down, it did hit a low price of $72.67. And we do see these pretty big wicks to the downside. So it is possible that we are seeing some bottoming signals. However, I don't really think that's the case. And I think that for a number of reasons. One, for me personally, I'm the kind of person who makes my coffee at home because it's so expensive to be going out and buying coffee all the time. Maybe once a month or twice a month, I treat myself to a cup of coffee at a local coffee shop supporting the local business, but I never go to Starbucks. And part of the reason is because it's just so expensive to be going out and buying coffee. And for me, there's no real personal connection to Starbucks like there is at my local coffee shop. Also, if we're starting to see things in the economy starting to tighten, topping in the stock market and inflation, everything has gotten so expensive. I don't think anybody's going to be wanting to go out and buy coffee because it's so cheap to be making it at home. So I could definitely see this coming down a lot in price. And, if we are starting to see some consolidation here, maybe over the next couple of weeks, that would be following this big down move. So I would think that is a bear flag and it could continue lower. And so I will go over 3 different levels that I could see price returning to. And so I will do that in a minute. But I did also want to point out that there is the possibility that this gap does get filled. The close on April 30th was at a price of $88.49. So that is the gap level to fill. But, gaps get left behind and it can take a long time to fill them. So I am viewing this as a price that maybe in a couple years, Starbucks will be returning to those levels. I think for the time being, the next few months at least, I do think that the stock price will be going down. And to go over levels, I am going to zoom out a bit here looking at the daily time frame. I can't get all of the levels that I want to look at on the daily time frame, so I'm going to switch over to the weekly and I am going to show you some of those levels. And so I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. And so I do think that we will be finding support at these levels, but I do ultimately think that the bottom one will be hit maybe later this year, maybe in 2025, but I do think eventually it will be hit. Before I get to that, I do want to go over some higher levels that I do think we might be finding some support at. And so, I'm doing this all in the video rather than having them up initially, just because I thought it'd be more fun to do that. And so here, I'm drawing this line right around $66, and I'm going to make this a little bit thicker and color it yellow. And so this level is based on this pivot low that was hit during the week that ended May 13th of 2022. And that corresponds with, a double bottom or really kind of a triple bottom with these 2 touch points over here being at the end of June 2020 and the beginning of May of 2020. So we've got those 2 bounces there before this move up, pull back here. And so I could definitely see price pulling back to $66 a share because that has been support before. And then the next level that does stand out to me that could be acting as support is really just like the tops over here. Let's say right around $54. And so I'm just going to make that line a little bit thicker and color it orange. So we can see that there. The reason why I think that might be acting as support, that price could be settling around $54, is because we have all of this consolidation below that level, a big stretch of price action there, that, buyers and sellers exchanging shares here. Since there were buyers here, I do think that they will be buying again if price does return to that level, picking up more shares at a discount. And so that is why I have that level there. And if I do throw up the volume profile, we can see that because of this consolidation, we do have a very pronounced volume shelf there. So I do think that will be substantial support here. The volume shelf really, starts to stick out around $54, but it really sticks out right around $50 here at about 49. So I could definitely see price returning to around $50. That is a psychological level, half of 100. So that does make sense to me. And then for this last level, I'm going to remove that volume profile and take a step back even further in time. And here I just want to point out that this pivot point here, this is, I believe, the all-time low, or at least in the time frame that I've shown up here. So this is at a price of $2.78.6, which was hit during the week ending on November 21st of 2008. So I believe this was associated with the financial crisis. And so that is one pivot point. And the other pivot point, you might be able to guess when it was from. I'm going to connect that over to here, which was the low for the week ending on March 20th of 2020, of course, that being the pandemic. And so if I do connect those 2 points, I do think that may shed some light on where price may be going. So I'm just going to do that with the ray tool over here. And I am, let's see, got this lined up just right there. And then now, let's see, the low over here was $46.06. I think I'm actually going to be a little bit off, but I'll try to adjust that over here, $46.06. And so now we do have those 2 points, and I am going to color this level red because I feel like this is the bottom line, or potentially, actually I guess it's above this orange line here. So 54, I do think, or 50, like I said, $49, do think that could be the bottom. But so this trend line, as you can see, actually we did go below it a little bit here, but that is, those are pivot points from this massive low here, 2008, and the pullback in 2020. And so, that does intersect with these lines over here, the orange one being in the past, the yellow one, still being in the future. And so I could see price returning to any of these levels. I could see it breaking below the red uptrend to hit 54 down to $49. And then pulling back up to this line, the red line, reclaiming it as support and then going higher. And so I do think that, looking at the red line here, if support is found at $66, it may be respecting the yellow and the red line up here. That could be a great dip buying opportunity. But if price does break below the yellow line and break below this uptrend and does test $49 to $54, I could see that as being a great dip buying opportunity. You don't want to buy things when they're overpriced, like up here. You don't want to, you're scared to buy things when they're underpriced because you think they're just going to keep going lower. And so I do think that, thinking about this from a psychological basis, I think that this yellow line does stand out as being support. And that, I would want to be accumulating there, but I never buy things at the exact bottom. And so I could definitely see price breaking below to this orange line and potentially getting down to, $49 a share. I think that would be a steal. That is the time when you want to buy, when it's at a great discount. And right now at around $75, I think price could be pulling back by 33%, by a third. Getting down to $50 a share. But, there might be some bounces along the way. But generally, I think prices going down. I think this is one to avoid, or perhaps make some money on the downside. But for me, I'm hanging back. But I do think that the chart is interesting. And yeah, thanks a lot for the request. And if you found this helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.